Cultural Shock webinar. My name is Amna and I'm interning at iEARN-USA, and I have been working closely with the YES program team to design this webinar. Before we begin, let's go over a quick review of some of the features in this room so all attendees can navigate and participate seamlessly. Review the chat box settings to be set to all panelists and participants. We are going to ask you guys questions, and we would really appreciate, feel free to write any question, any concern, how you're feeling after coming back. Feel free to write that in the chat box, but make sure that your settings are to all panelists and participants. So we will be launching our first poll soon. You can access the polls and answer accordingly, and then we'll share the results with you all. And lastly, we're recording this webinar so that those who missed us today can join us later on and learn from what we are sharing from all our panelists' experiences. We really want it to be more interactive. So while our panelists are answering their questions or sharing their experiences, we would really appreciate your questions as well, and we will include them as it is. Cultural shock. We were aware of it when we came to US, or from students who are joining us from US and went to other countries. So reverse culture shock is slightly another step of culture shock. We were aware of culture shock. We were expected it, but reverse culture shock kind of takes us out of our comfort zones. Mainly because we knew we lived in that country all our life, and how can we go through something like reverse culture shock in the same country? And I think it is an emotional and psychological process. In fact, according to our research, around 70% people returning home from studying, working, or living abroad experience reverse culture shock. It may feel like stress, alienation, disorientation, change relationships with family members or friends. At times it can be like a form of anger, passive, active. It can also be like confusion about what is happening, how you navigate your space around the same society you lived in, hostility as well, a sense of separation from what was familiar for all your life, sense of loss in terms of missing your host family, your friends from your study abroad program, or maybe fear as well, adjusting back academically, socially, trying to meet expectations, and meanwhile finding your own place for the experiences that you have accumulated and become someone or evolved someone that person wasn't before there. So it can be disenchantment as well. So yeah, there are many forms of reverse culture shock, and that's exactly why we're here today. Our recent YES batch returned to their home countries. We decided to invite some of our successful alumni and gather the useful information that will empower them and most of us who have been there in their home countries for some time, but still are managing to adjust back. So let's try to make the best out of this platform and ask questions that will empower us all to proactively as well as productively live through the reverse culture shock phase. I'm Amna Sabahat. I was YES exchange student during the year 2006-2007. Yeah, been a long time. And now I'm doing my internship with iEARN Office USA. I'm also doing my master's program. I'm doing my master in international affairs at Columbia University, New York. And we have amazing panelists. So we will start with Marima.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you all for joining, whether you're a new alumni or older alumni, or you're just really interested in reverse culture shock. My name is Marima, and I was on the exchange in the year 2015-2016. I'm originally from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I was placed in North Carolina. And I'm really excited that I got picked because I do really believe we all have pretty unique experiences when it comes to reverse culture shock, but we do also have some things in common. So if the things that I say can help you all readjust into your communities, then I'm really happy to be here today and share my experience.
Thank you, Marima. We are also very excited to have you here today. Let's hear from Shine.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm Shine from the Philippines. So you can see there in the map, the location of the Philippines. So it's in Southeast Asia, for those who are not familiar. And I'm a YES alumna, batch 2007-2008. So that's our batch photo during our orientation in BC. And I was hosted in Michigan, USA. I think everyone's kind of familiar of the US map by now. So that's where I was hosted. And I was hosted by the Kernstack family. So that's my amazing host family. I'm the one with, the girl with the closed eyes. So sitting beside me is my Brazilian host sister. So she was also an exchange student from another program. So I was double placed. And then I was hosted, that's also my first snow experience. So that's kind of amazing. You see in my face how fun it was. And my host school was Bay City Western High School. So that was the first time also I played ever sports. So that's my junior varsity team. And then right now, when I came back, I graduated from the University of the Philippines. So that's the photo on the left. And I now work for the Unilever Philippines. And I also play touch football for the national team of the Philippines. So yeah, that's for my introduction.
Wow, thank you for joining us today. Let's hear from Aziz.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aziz, or Abdelaziz, or Z as they used to call me in the US. I'm from Palestine. I currently live in Egypt after finishing my degree in Palestine as an English language teacher. I taught for AMRIST in the Access program, and I also taught for the UNRWA, the UN Refugee Agency for Palestinian Refugees. As you see from the pictures, I've traveled quite a lot in the US during my stay. You can see here in my picture in the Biltmore State in North Carolina. I'm from Gaza, Salma. I hope that you enjoy our presentations here today. Thank you, Amna.
I'm very optimistic. I think you all have a lot to share and a lot to give that we can learn from. Let's Lameen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mahamadou Lamin Bagayoko. I go by Lamin. I am the YES program coordinator in Mali. So I participated in the Fulbright program in the US for 2 years, and I did a Master of Art in Women's Studies at SUNY Albany, State University of New York. So now I am really happy to be able to share some of the solutions to reverse cultural shock. Thank you.
Thank you, Lameen. So Lameen is also our coordinator, our local coordinator in Mali, and he on and off interacts with students. So I think from all that you hear from them, all that you have seen them doing to adjust back would be great for us to hear from. Thank you, Lameen. So I'll start from Mariam, and I think we will keep the same order. So how was your reverse culture shock, like?
You are welcome.
Thank you. So Mariam, how is it like to be back after exchange program?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people can relate the fact that it first takes a week or two for you to actually realize that it's all over, or the exchange year is over and you're back home. And for me, the first 2 weeks were pretty hectic because it's a lot of friends that I wanted to see, a lot of family members, and I didn't even realize it was really getting to me until all of that kind of got down. And then slowly was so used to the life that I had in the US, and I had a routine set for me, and I had new friends, and I had a lot of friends that didn't talk in 10 months. It was kind of starting to be, I'm sorry, is it not clear? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, now it's clear. If you could repeat, yeah, your last two sentences, it would be great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying that it was getting hard to connect the people that I haven't seen and talked to in about 10 months. It was very hard to find a common topic because I've had a different lifestyle for 10 months. They've had different things happen to them. And I started feeling very alone and started shutting down everyone, even like my family, trying to help out. And at that point, I realized, because I thought that it wouldn't happen to me. Like, we all think it's not going to happen to us. And we kind of distantly listen to it at the re-entry. And we're like, oh, yeah, I'm back home. Everything's going to be okay. But yeah, after like 2 weeks, I definitely felt it sinking in. And I let it take over my life for like about a month or so. And then we'll talk on later. I'm just looking at the questions. I guess we'll talk about how to deal with it later on. But yeah, I just wanted to say that you know, some of the new alumni might not feel it happening yet, but it definitely happens at some point. For some people, it's at a bigger scale. For some people, it's just little things that they deal with it a lot easier. But whatever it is, if you have any questions, just feel free to leave them in the chat, and then we'll talk about how to deal with it later on.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned about is we all can relate to at a certain point when we come back. So Shine, how was it for you adjusting back and being back?
Hi, it's me again, Shine. Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. I think one word that would describe my experience when I get back to my country is weird. Like, everything's so weird. Like, my family's weird. For me, my family was weird when I got back. The weather was weird because I was placed in Michigan. Then when I came back, it's like summer all year, like summer every day. So, well, that was nice. But then it was weird. It was different. I started talking with a twang. I think everyone's can relate. So, like, my friends would tease me. Even my classmates, they would tell me, "You're not in America anymore. Can you like speak like a Filipino? Stop acting like you're American." But like, I can't help it. I couldn't help it because that's how we used to talk when we were in the USA. Other than that, of course, jet lag. I think first week it was crazy. I couldn't sleep at night because it's 12 hour, our country is 12 hour ahead of the USA. Food was weird because here in the Philippines we eat rice all meal, like rice breakfast, rice lunch, rice dinner. So it was really weird for me. And in school, I had a hard time because when I came back, I had a different set of classmates. All of my batchmates went to the university already when I got back. So that was really hard for me because those were my friends and I had to, adjust to a different set of people. So I think that was a challenging experience on my part. And I think later we're gonna share some of the weird experiences that we had at home, but that was how it was when I came back from exchange here.
Thank you, Shine. So before we move to Lameen, Aziz, how was your exchange like the return from the exchange program abroad? How is it adjusting back in the country?
Could you repeat your question? I didn't catch it.
Oh, sure. So yeah, how was your time coming back to the country and reverse culture shock like?
Okay, my experience was quite hectic, but let's talk about the parts where I started my exchange year in the US, where I had this kind of this connection or this engagement from everyone around me for about 2 months. I couldn't understand the accent in which Americans were talking with, especially that every kind of person has his own accent, which took some time to adjust to. Upon my return, I faced a lot of problems. Some of them related to the everyday lifestyle. Taking a shower every day was not possible since I'm from Gaza and we have electricity outages, and not always, like, water is not always available. Also, I had some problems with people who could not accept the fact that some people went to the US, especially with the administration's like situation with Palestinians. Um, they could not accept the fact that someone went to the US and had this experience. Males or females, the same. And every time someone made a mistake who's an exchange student, they say, okay, you went to America and you're spoiled now. So you face kind of a lot of social pressure. The way I dealt with it is that I tried to have conversations with people. What is it that you don't like about me? What is it that you don't like about my behavior? I tried to talk to them into my justification for what I do. For example, I can admit that before my travel to the US, I was kind of abusive toward my sisters and my female relatives. But once I got exposed to the American culture and how women are respected and they're given more leadership roles in society, I started to pass on this culture to my sisters, to my surroundings, and I still face a lot of attacks from or aggression from people due to that. And like conversation again was one of the strongest weapons that I could have. Talk to them, listen and listen and listen, and they will appreciate that.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing that, Aziz. Let's hear from Lamine. So how has your how has your understanding been regarding reverse culture shock when you interact with students returning from your exchange program? What challenges do you think they face?
Is also true here in Mali. You know, when students, when they get here, upon the arrival, so they start complaining about the weather. Yeah, and then they complain also about the language and about the way people think of them, people treat them back home. So I think that one of or the real reason for the cultural shock for the student when they get back home is linked to the expectations that they have while getting ready to come from the US to their home country, and the expectations that the families have on them as well. Okay, can I go on?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so when they arrive here, one of the expectation is first to make things change, because they've been changed. They've learned a lot. They have a lot of idea that they think those will be also applicable once they get back to their home country, and they feel like grown-ups they feel independent. So they expect people to take them as independent individuals, as knowledgeable individuals. So they expect people to take them as mature. That's why generally when they have a conversation with the adult, they used to have conversation before going to the US. It's difficult sometimes for them to understand how those people still behave, because the parent first, the older brothers or older sister or oldest other members of the family will continue to take them as they were before going, like kids, not like matured being. So, and they trouble with the family goes up mainly around that. When they have discussion with their family members, they tend to bring their ideas, their suggestions. While for the case of Mali, for example, here as a kid, when parents speak, when they decide for you, you take that decision. You don't have like the opportunity to decide. While when they were in the US, they've been used to know their privacy, to manage their privacy, to speak their mind. And once back, they were expecting the same thing. They don't get that. They feel frustrated. That's one thing, particularly from the family side. And then from the friend side, the kids, sorry for using the word kids, because we're still talking about culture. I'm kind of shocking them. They are not thinking that they are kids. They are not kids. Yes, they are mature. I'm sure about that. But we, we can still use like the cultural way, kids. So when they get here, they tend to have an idea about how to organize their schedule. While the friend that they had here before going to the US have always been in the same state, not planning things, doing whatever they want at any time, and having unscheduled visits and not even calling. And they sometimes feel frustrated about how their friend behave with them. And when people text them or call them, they tend to spend more time before answering to those people because they have other objective to do. So they are objective when they get back home in a culture where most of the people of their age are not as objective as they are. So this creates like some kind of trouble with them, between them and their friends. So some even tend to look for new friends, you know. So yeah, this is a more likely linked to the expectation that they have. Okay. Good.
Thank you, Lamin. I think you raised several important points, mainly how family is also going through the reverse culture shock. It's not just the students, and how
Mm-hmm.
these little things like scheduling, the different understanding of the personal space, I think that's how that changes. And then the interaction and navigation around that, with the country, going back to home where it was different, kind of becomes an issue. So there is a poll up there right now. What was the biggest challenge when you returned back? Uh, what was the biggest challenge of your on-campus culture shock? The options are academics, personality changes, expectations of friends and family, missing host communities, worrying about fitting in, gender dynamics, difference in opportunities available. Now we're going to discuss two important points raised by our participants. Feel free to meanwhile answer the poll and we will share the results with you in a bit. First of all, I'm going to read what Manar shared with us. Manar, I can't see which country you are from, but I will mention that what you wrote. So Manar wrote to us that when he was or she was, I apologize, I will just read it as it is. When I was in the US, I felt limitless, like I could achieve anything. Everyone was there to help, and I was living my best life. Now that I'm back to my country, I feel terribly useless and a lack of motivation. My question to you is, how can I overcome this lack of motivation and dullness that is linked with my counter homesickness? How can I still achieve things and be as active as I was in the US? Um, I will start giving my point of view, and then we will hear from the panelists. The second question and the second sort of concern that Musa raised, I believe, is about, I don't really call like disability. I think it's like differently able alumni who are going back, and also the facilities, the social space that they get varies from country to country. That will be the second thing we will talk about. For Manar, I think at times what happens is that we are very excited that we're back and we want to share our experience, but we don't really find many people who are as excited to hear it as we are as excited we are to share it. So at times what you can do is that maybe cook something, that mac and cheese popular in US, you can make that, share it with your friends and family, and then have a discussion about something. Play an interesting game as well, like the for me personally, it was like board games were not that common in Pakistan. That's what I used to play with my host family, and then introducing it back to my family and friends. It was like more exciting, and then everyone could share, discuss. Another thing you can do is like start writing a blog. I'm sorry that you feel terribly useless and there is lack of motivation, as you mentioned. Uh, think about what you can do. Be more proactive about it, instead of like sitting back and thinking about how things have changed and how you are continually missing your host family back at home. Think about what have you learned through your exchange program and what you can implement around you. Uh, the most supportive network that we have is our senior alumni who have adjusted back, who have been through reverse culture shock. Uh, Talking from my personal experience, I think community service helped me a lot. The first time I met my senior alumni was during a community service project. So that was like not just making me feel better about implementing my learning, but also made new friends right away, where I could feel at home, like people who shared the same experience. Let's hear from Aziz first. Aziz, what do you recommend about in this particular situation that Manar has mentioned?
I feel privileged as a YES student or alumni because we have so many opportunities like the YES mini grants, like the AEIF, the Alumni Engagement Innovation Fund by the Department of State. These things provide us with funding and provide us with trainings so that we can be more active in society and take role in developing the community and providing training like the program I was a part of. What was called Gaza Digital. We provided training for Gaza youth to work online. So like it makes you feel more useful to give to society. Sometimes when you give, you also take back. So I think this is my opinion on this.
Thank you, Aziz. Shine, what do you recommend in this particular situation?
Okay, I came from a very small community in the Philippines, and back then opportunities were very rare, especially for someone who came from the United States. Like during my times, it was like a long time ago. There were no like a yes community or like a yes chapter in my area. So that was very hard for me. What I did was I worked with what I have. So for example, in school, I started participating in different clubs. So that helped me got so busy. So I wouldn't have to think about, my US friends, my US school, something like that. So I started different community projects. Say a small community drive, a cleanup drive would go a long way. So things like that, you just have to work with what you have. Because let's be honest, especially in third world countries like the Philippines, we don't have all the resources. We don't have all the funding that we have for our projects. So after my high school in my community, I moved to Manila. So that's the capital of the Philippines. So that's when I started reconnecting with other alumni. So I was able to start projects with them, to submit proposals to different US Embassy funding projects. So that's how I adjusted to my um, how I adjusted when I came back.
Thank you, Shine. I mean, you raised really good points. Probably you kind of summed it all up, what other panelists were sharing. So how do you see alumni, recently returned, students adjusting back? What do they do? How do they build their life back together?
We don't give them. Okay, am I unmuted? Okay, we don't give them time to feel like the lack of motivation, because we make them part of the program. When they arrive here, mainly it finds that we are working on preparing the new recruit, those new year students who are getting ready to depart to the US. So we bring them in our office as a part of the orientation process for the alumni and for the new recruits. So we have like a group meeting with the new alumni and the new recruit, and then we organize like small group meeting, not like a big group, where we will decide, for example, for every topic, 2 or 3 alumni will cover that topic. They will work together and they will come meet with and the program. We as the program coordinator, we help them with the message. We help them, about how to present what they have to the new recruit, and that's really good for them, because when they get back, they really want someone to listen to them. They have a lot to share, and people in the family or in the normal community are busy with their normal daily life. They don't always have time to listen to them. While we can make a good use of them, bringing them in the office, listening to them, and then they like that. And beside that, we make them in touch also with the old alumni, those who came a long time before them. So they have a time to discuss about what those old alumni have been doing when they get back. And we talk to them about the possible project that they can do, the support that we have for them. So that they really like that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. We will hear from Mariam.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I would like to try and answer both questions with the same answer because they kind of go hand in hand. For me, and as cliche as it sounds, I think keeping yourself busy. And for the lack of motivation, I kind of experienced that when I first joined the Yes Alumni community. And then the easiest thing you can do is create your own project. All alumni are allowed to submit requests for resources. So if you're really interested into animal rights and no one in your US alumni community is doing that, you can always submit requests yourself. You can have fun while you're doing it. And I like to think that whenever you're doing something that you actually really like, the outcome is going to be a lot more positive and you're going to reach a lot more people. And the same way with people that like Amna said, have different abilities. And we have a few of our alumni that have also worked on the GIFT program. They came back. They really opened our eyes because they started drawing attention to the disabilities that they have. And they said, why not dedicate our time to people, children, teenagers that also have disabilities, projects for them, so that way you can also do the projects with all of the other YES alumni. And I don't really think the YES program makes a whole lot of difference. We try to do projects, or at least in my YES community, we try to do projects that involve all alumni. And if one project is maybe hard for you to do because of some kind of disability, that's okay. You can, like I said, request for a project that you can do yourself or that you can use to draw attention to the disability that you have or someone in your alumni community has. So just try and stay active. I mean, it's really not that hard. Once you do one project, kind of get the thing, and you see the gratefulness that someone shows you, whether it's a person, community, after you've done something, and it just kind of draws you in to do more and more every time.
Thank you, Mariam. You heard different perspectives on it. One more thing for Manar, I would like to mention. Manar, also think about what would you like to do later on in life as a professional. Decide that, brainstorm about it. You don't have to be sure. It can always change as you evolve. And then reach out to your local coordinator to connect you to an alumni who might be working in the same field to give you an overview, guide you how you can, start from today and make it, like, aim for it, set goals, objectives. And also, like our panelists mentioned, reaching out to your local coordinators and connecting to alumni seems to be the most useful way to go through this time period. Mariama already mentioned about differently able students or physically challenged alumni who we have. From personal experience, I will share that. In fact, my first ever interaction was my host brother, who is autistic. He and I used to get along the most. So that was my first exposure to understanding what challenges people can have living in the same society. But after going back, we had one YES alumna. She always was like reaching out and telling us that she wants to participate. So what we used to do was we used to make sure whenever we plan a community service project or any gathering or any activity, we used to make sure that she knows where we are meeting. And then I think it's not just comes down to one person. It is all of us who need to make sure that we are all doing it together. And Musa, another thing you can do, design your own projects. You can share it with the local coordinator, and you can ask other yes alumni to participate in that. Assign them roles. Like every project needs certain roles, so you can use social media platform as well to reach out to those. So next let me share the results of the poll. That sounds really interesting. So we have the poll about what was the biggest challenge of your own reverse culture shock. 26% said it was academics. And I think we should definitely discuss that a bit as well. Personality challenges, that I think we have covered. 52% felt it was the personality challenges. And the highest number of alumni felt that expectations of friends and family was a huge thing when they were going through their reverse culture shock. that we have covered. Let us know if you have any other question left that we did not answer regarding this. 43% answered missing host communities. 35% answered worrying about fitting in, and 22% mentioned it was gender dynamics, and 39% said differences in opportunities available. I think we will move to academics first. How do you initially, like, let me know if anyone else want to share anything regarding the physical, like regarding the alumni who are physically challenged, and what if they have any recommendation. If not, then we will discuss how academics adjusting back to usually what happens is that we in some countries we are like 1 year behind and our classmates have already move to next level college, or maybe they are our seniors and we have to make new friends with our juniors, and kind of adjust with that as well. So what do you have in mind to recommend students who feel like academics are being a challenge? We'll start from Aziz. Hi, Aziz, can you hear us?
Your voice was a little bit far.
Okay. So we would like to know, what do you have in mind to recommend our alumni about academics? Like, some of them felt that academics can be challenging. Some of us are kind of like with our juniors and trying to adjust. And how do you recommend to navigate around this?
First of all, most of the alumni I know, including myself, thought about going back to study the undergrad in the US. Students, once they come back, the alumni, once they come back to their country, they have to understand or decide where they want to study their undergrad. And based on that, they can prepare themselves with the resources. They could refer to older alumni who have been in similar situations, and consult them, especially if they share the same interests with them. And I'm sure that the Yes alumni committees in all the Yes countries, they can help with that. As for me, I started by joining the Abraham Lincoln program, and I tried to apply for the US. I wasn't lucky enough, so I took the backup plan and studied home. But I still have the hopes to go back to the US to complete my studies.
Thank you. Shine wants to discuss about expectations. Let's hear from Shine.
Okay, hi. So when I came back to the Philippines, one thing that my teachers and even my classmates in school would always tell me was something like this: "Oh, since you came from the USA, I think you can pass all the university entrance exams that you'll take here in the country." And in my mind, although I was a good student back then, but in my mind, I was like, I didn't study in Harvard. I was an exchange student. That was a cultural immersion. But I would understand that they expect me to, know everything, like you're the Miss Know It All. But, at the end of the day, there are still some things that, you don't know. And it's always a good idea to ask. Never assume, never think that, you feel stupid for asking. So always ask for help if you need it. So I think that's a great help when I was adjusting back then. So there.
Thank you, Shine. I think that is very helpful. Like, it's okay if everyone expects you that you went to Harvard or something, but it's okay. You take your time. And eventually, I think for me personally, I became way more focused after my exchange program in terms of academics. Like, yeah, like Lamin, I'm on Fulbright. I think if it wouldn't have been coming back from exchange program, deciding what I want to do in life, being focused about what my ABC steps are, and yeah, I think utilize it. It's okay. You are not going to do everything right away. You are going to take your time. It's going to be your own journey. We have a very interesting question from our local coordinator from Jordan. And she works on YES programs. And she is asking about what do alumni, and I think Lamine, you can answer this as well since you also interact with YES alumni. What do alumni find most helpful from the staff when they like re-enter the country? What can this local staff do to help them the best way possible? We'll start from Lamine.
Okay, thank you. That's a great question. The whole thing starts with their parents. When students are getting ready to come back to their home country, it's important to have a discussion with their parents. That's what we do. We gather the parent, we talk to them about expecting the change that they will see in their children, and listen to them about what they would be expecting possibly from their student, or what they think would be challenging for them, and try to answer to some of those questions before the student get here. But we really insist on the change on the student after only 1 year. Don't take the year as just like only 1 year or only 10 months. A lot of things happen to them about that. To look for possibly professors, because French is the official language here. While students, when they are in the US, they speak English, and they kind of get used to English within the 1 year stay. So we inform the parent that once the student get here, if they want the student to succeed, or their children to succeed in school, it will be important to hire a private French teacher for them, so that they can relearn or re-improve their level in that language. Okay, and then encourage them to get some professors in other fields like mathematics and chemistry.
Thank you.
You know, yeah. So we do that, and then when students they get here, right before even getting here, while in Washington D.C., I talk to them. I talk to them in the way that they get a sense of parent expectation on them, because we have heard from the parents before meeting them, in the US. So they kind of get some idea, they kind of get prepared. We also tell them that they have to remember they are the one who traveled, who experienced new things. Those back home, they haven't traveled, they haven't experienced new things. They have been in the same place. So they should not expect them to know the thing that they already know or they learn in the US. Because, yeah,
You are
so they have to be,
absolutely right,
yeah,
Lamine.
yeah.
You're absolutely right. Let's hear from Mariama. What would she recommend regarding this?
Okay.
When it comes to academics, I think it's very important to know that you are going back and you are expected, like Shine said, to be like a extraordinary student. But don't be pressured into doing too much. Take your time, first of all, to readjust. And then I know it's really hard. I came back to my senior year and I was just kind of forced to do everything that I missed in junior year and doing everything in senior year and what I wanted to do in university and college. But I also think that the YES exchange year really helped me, just for classes that I wouldn't have the opportunity to have in Bosnia. And that really helped me direct myself to what I want to study in the future.
Thank you,
So I think,
we're kind of running short on time. What would you recommend that the local YES staff can do to best accommodate alumni returning, like YES students returning? Like, mention 3 things that you think the local YES program staff can help students with during their reverse culture shock time, overall, not just academics?
I think reentry is extremely important, and having older alumni from all sorts of generations and alumni that are doing different things. There are in school, that are out of school and working, that have studied abroad once more. That's alumni experiences are very important. I think seeing that someone has already been through that and is okay. Also, regularly checking up with your alumni and asking them if they want to be involved with projects, and letting them know that they all can request resources for projects and be a part of them, and just being connected and trying to connect all of the alumni from the country and maybe even the region even more, because I think that's the easiest way, hearing other experiences and what might be helpful for you too.
Thank you, Marima. We will start from Aziz. We have another really good question. So the question is, what can they do, considering the different perspectives, to have a discussion about different things? For example, it could be like something that you experienced during your exchange program, adopted it or learned it, but how do you have conversations with people back in your home countries?
I think it helps when someone has started writing a diary before going on the program, and completed it after and during. But if someone didn't do that, I advise these people, like, so anyone who's having a conversation, to always keep in mind the differences or the things that the YES alumni know, and the normal ordinary people who were not in the program do not know. So keep in mind the differences, keep in mind all of the things that they could disagree with, and stay as much as you can from controversial issues that could get you in trouble. But you can present it in a unique, different way, which could be indirect. For example, whenever someone talks to me about how did you deal with Americans who have different religion from you, I used to tell them that we were raised in a society that only believes in one religion, and so did they. But I don't have to follow your religion to respect you and respect who you are. So I started to kind of go from that direction into asking them or prompting them to accept others. You know.
Thank you, Aziz, for sharing that. Let's hear from Shine. We are trying to like find out, how do you share your perspective with other people? Like, how do you communicate and understanding the context of your own home countries?
Right. For me, I think one of the things that you can do is to catch their attention. Like, think of something that is unique or like funny, actually, to for you to be able to share your experiences abroad. For example, in my case, in my country, we use spoon and fork when we eat rice. But back then in the US, we used to use just the fork. So that's something that I actually shared to my friends. I was like, do you know that in the US we used to use just the fork for the rice? And they were like, really? That's so hard. And I told them, you try it. And that's something, that started the conversation. So from there, I was actually able to experience some of the weird experiences that I had in the USA. So yeah, again, try to think of something unique, something that they can relate to.
Thank you, Shine. Mariama, what do you suggest regarding this?
Yeah, I really do agree with Chan. What I used to do with my friends, because everyone really likes seeing pictures from wherever you've been. So I had pictures from different events that I've attended, sports that I've played, and just kind of finding little differences that we don't have in Bosnia. Because I guess people get bored when you talk about the things that they have done as well. They want to hear about the new experiences, or doing like a short presentations for your class back home. And just, don't overwhelm people with information if they don't want to hear about it. It's okay to be just like, I had a great year, everyone was really fun, I've learned so much, and if they don't want to hear any more about it, that's fine too. Not everyone's going to be interested. But you can always like show them a picture, be like, oh, that this place that I've visited, I've met so and so there, I've seen this and that. And I think you're always going to find either, especially within the alumni community, people that really want to hear about your experience and the different things that you learned.
Thank you, Marima. Lamin, same question for you. How do you recommend alumni can share their experiences, perspectives without getting boring or without like really offending as well at times, because discussions tend to get serious at times as well? Lamin, can you hear us?
Hello? Hello?
Hello. Yeah.
I think on my phone. Okay, so I think they covered a big part of this, but one thing would be to first, talking about the experience. Otherwise, honestly, it can be like boring. You have to see, is this person now like available to hear about my story? My story is related to what situation right now. They have to find a like that can make them talk about the experience. They cannot just talk about it just like that. Okay, one thing that I would like to share with the other coordinator possibly, and I do that, is to open the office for the alumni anytime. Anytime when they are ready, they can come to the
Thank you, Lamin. That
okay.
was a very interesting output
Thank you.
from all of you guys. Yeah, you are right. And I think also, like our panelists mentioned earlier, that how important it is to understand that you as an individual were the one who went to a different country, different society, got to learn different things and utilize your own brain to process and pick and choose what you want to incorporate in your own personality and self, consciously and at times subconsciously as well. So I think it's good to be patient. It's good to be tolerant. We are almost like through. It's the end of the webinar, almost there. We would love to continue this conversation, but yeah, we kind of have to wind it up now. So I will share one thing. 1 minute. 1 minute. I hope you all enjoyed, and it also gave you an idea about how to adjust back. Feel free to write to us if you think there was something that we missed out, couldn't get to, or couldn't answer. We'll be sending you a survey so that we get the feedback about regarding this, and we can further follow up on it. Thank you so much, everyone. And lastly, let's have a final suggestion from our panelists, or anything that they would like to mention as we are just ending the webinar. I'll start from Aziz.
Okay. Just like with all the endings, this is getting emotional with as what it is. But I would like to everyone and all of your encounters, and always take it easy, always think twice, always accept the person in front of you, and just like they taught me in the US, remember to always smile and tell people that they're nice and be nice to them. Thank you, everyone, and I hope that we meet one day. Bye.
Thank you so much, Aziz. Marima?
Yeah, thank you everyone who joined in today. And I mean, this is a great thing that a lot of new alumni have already joined in a webinar. So just the way that you were active and stayed involved with the chat and everyone, just do that for the rest of your career, I guess, as a YES alumni. And I know that your YES coordinators and everyone in your home country and the YES program even in DC is always there to help. And the biggest thing is just reach out, not close out, and feel like no one understands, because there's hundreds and thousands of other people that have been in the same situation as you are right now.
Thank you. Shine?
Hello again, and thank you everyone for participating in this webinar. I hope you guys all had fun and hope to see you soon. I don't know where, but stay active in your local organization, your local chapters, because you never know, you'll have the chance again to be back in the United States. In fact, I was able to go back last year. I was at the pre-departure orientation of the YES students. So that's one of the ways, you can participate in other programs after your YES here. And for the alumni from the Philippines, you guys can follow, I'm not sure if you can see it, but it's YES Philippines, YES Alumni Philippines. You can search it on Facebook. I'm one of the admins, so I can, answer your questions if you need anything. So there, mabuhay.
Thank you, Shine. Lamin?
Mentors and be involved in activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Lamin. So, guys, overall, I think we covered all the possible aspects of reverse culture shock. I would like to lastly mention one thing. You can also start writing your own blog. If you think people are not listening to your experience and you still want to share it, write it out. It will not just be you sharing your experience, it will also add up to your CV in future. I will repeat that we are going to send you a survey. Kindly fill it out. Get back to us if you have any question, and have a good night, good day, and let's keep connecting. Bye.